Okay, so I was watching that guy's video, and he believes that mankind was created by aliens by bringing a clone factory here. No, what happened is there was a very elaborate plan to take over creation, which involved creating this planet across the 8 parallel universes. While the universe was still good, so they got 14 gods and goddesses across the 8 parallel universes, which is what what do I say? Seven pairs, seven pairs of gods and goddesses on days, like 56 people to create this planet. Once the planet was created, they had to they kind of they shut down the process at a particular point. I would say the planet really hasn't had a chance to fully mature, I think, because the Antarctica shouldn't be covered in ice. So there's something going on there, which I talk about that later. But let's just say for now that they got rid of the creators, and that must have affected the solar system, like its formation. So it slowed down, and then to populate the planet, they went out to various solar systems where there was primitive civilizations there in the process of becoming advanced civilizations. They abducted their children around the age of 5, and they brought them here. 5-year-olds, a bunch of 5-year-old children. Of all the various races that are present here on planet Earth. You know, there's like 9 races, give or take. You know, there's Native Americans, South Americans, Africans, Indonesians, Polynesians, Aborigines, Inuit, Asians, Caucasians, Middle Eastern people. So all those different people that make up those races, your ancestors were children, 5-year-old children brought here at the beginning. So there were still Neanderthal mans and Cro-Magnon mans, walking around here 20,000 years ago. That's how old our civilization is. So those older Cro-Magnon man and Neanderthal man, they were the ones that look after the human children here. So they raised the human children in essence. And because they didn't have souls, their souls were the planet. They basically went extinct from that purpose. So when he's talking about cloning, his story may sound out to lunch, but I thought I'd put him on in the right direction because I haven't really talked about that yet. But it's a nice piece of information for mankind to maybe kind of get your science to get their what's that old saying? Get their teeth wet or something, I guess, or a piece of information. So that's the real process. So when he's talking about cloning, the reason why we're here is because of cloning? No, the reason why we're here is because evil created this planet as its staging base to take over creation. They got rid of me and your mom. And then they brought 5-year-old children here from various races that exist on planet Earth, and they dumped them off in the vicinity of the ancient hominid species that were here at the time, and then they raised us as their children, and they went extinct. Now those children that were brought here at 5 years of age, they all spoke one language, and it was called Anishinaabeg. And I know this because of something called Proto-World Language, which was a theory put forth from a linguistics professor that at one time the entire planet spoke one language because we all share the same words, a group of words. I think there's about 5 or 6 of them, like aqua. We all have aqua, or we have ma, right? So there's all kinds of words that we share. It doesn't matter what race you come from. We all share those words, and that's because the children that were brought here at 5 years old, they had a limited vocabulary, and when they got dumped off, they had nobody to teach them the Anishinaabe, so they had to invent their own language. But those proto-world words remained. That's why we share those same words across. It doesn't matter which language you go to, we all share the same words. So the guy that proposed that theory, the other linguistics, just tossed his theory in the trash and said, nope. No, so those guys are wrong, man. So I talk about that later, but that's my evidence of why we all spoke one language at one time. But you guys might have heard of a different story, about some people building a tower somewhere, right? And then somebody getting mad and saying, "Yeah, this way you can't. This way you don't speak different languages." That stuff's not real, man. What I just told you is real. That's why we speak many different languages. And you go anywhere else in creation, you speak one language, Anishinaabe. Why? Well, because the universe is like a couples retreat forever, where everything is free and you can enjoy, driving around in UFOs and go to a different planet every day of your life. So if I allowed my creation to have, every planet to create their own language, what kind of disaster would that be? That's like trying to want to run a Walmart with 1,000 people that speak 1,000 different languages. It's ineffective and it doesn't work. So therefore, the creators made an existence where we all speak the same language. So it doesn't matter what planet you go to, you're able to communicate with any race in the universe. That's why the children that were brought here spoke Anishinaabe. That's why we all share that ancient dialect in our languages. And I don't know if there's another reason behind it, but it's just, it makes more sense that way when you really think about it. Now, I want you to think long and hard about that, because it's the truth. So, we're brought here 20,000 years ago from primitive cultures dumped off here so that evil could manipulate us into playing around with particle accelerators at CERN so that they could blow apart this universe using CERN by creating a black hole and crushing the people, crushing 8 billion people inside a black hole with the intent of, if they can continue to crush those people in the black hole over and over and over, they might be able to crush the entire universe inside those people, which would destroy this universe in the heart, therefore, affecting the good people in creation's heart arrhythmias, making them all, drop over and keel over in the streets because of a heart attack, allowing evil to remain in control of creation forever. Through cloning, they would clone themselves. So that's why we were created, as a staging ground to, crush the universe so that evil could take over creation by, getting rid of all the good guys. So, I'll elaborate on more of that later, but for now, I thought I'd just add to that guy's story about him thinking that the aliens brought us here and they started cloning us. No, but now you know the real reason. And he can put his faith-based system back on track because he's a man of science. Once he gets a hold of my stuff, he's going to eat that stuff up and say, well, now I know the truth. All right, Six Nations, where are you, man? I got a job to do. Somebody got rid of my mom and dad. I'm going to go clone them guys. The reason why you can't clone a human is because if you do, it proves the existence of the soul. Because the minute you clone somebody, they're going to wake back up in that body. So that's what's going to happen with me and mom. If somebody pulls the trigger because they got an itchy trigger finger, that man will resurrect us. And I guarantee you 100%, you'll have two walking and talking babies walking around here, man. After our souls are put back into the babies, we'll come back to life.